If this was a normal crypto cycle, XRP would be waiting a long time for a new all-time high, somewhere around 2028 when the Bitcoin halving comes in. But if anything tells us that is dead, well, it's Bitcoin itself. It hit a new all-time high the previous cycle before the halving because ETFs were driving that value. Now, for altcoins, for utility networks, for XRP, the driver is not going to be ETFs. That's going to be a compounder. That's going to make the value swell even more. But the driver is going to be mass adoption of this technology. And if you have any doubt that's going to happen, look what happened just last week. We had this massive open USD project that was announced. BlackRock, MasterCard, Visa, Ripple, Stellar, you name it. This was one of the biggest announcements in the history of crypto. And we also had Robinhood launching their own blockchain. And that is just 1 week. This is going to be continuous, major projects announced, onboarding of the biggest institutions in the world of blockchain technology adopting this technology, and that's what's going to drive the value for us, and it's happening now, not sometime in the distant future. Now, what's interesting about XRP, the most interesting, valuable, and easy to understand use cases, we are the leader in, and I think that's going to bring adoption to this chain, and also investors are going to see it, understand it, and they're going to want part of it. Number one, the fastest growing RWA chain there is right now, XRP Ledger, 1.9 billion. Everyone wants this technology. BlackRock, they want to tokenize the world. Every brokerage, every bank, they want to tokenize assets, take them on chain. So you have that demand. Further, every investor can understand the headaches of the market. You want to sell a stock, it's Saturday. You sold the stock, but you need the value. You got to send a wire. Like, everyone can understand the value of a autonomous 365 market where anytime you need that value, you click a button and boom, you have a stable coin that you could send instantly anywhere in the world. You could spend whatever you want to do with it. This is a much better system. It's easy to understand why, and the demand is there. I mean, everyone that is anyone wants this technology, and they want it now. You also have XRP Ledger, one of the leaders in agentic payments with AI. We just hit 962,000 AI transactions, and this is just the very early days. And what's great about this, it doesn't matter if investors understand it. If you are merging with AI, everyone wants in. This is going to be one of the hottest sectors for investing in crypto. And again, Ripple's using AI to safeguard the chain, to develop faster. Other devs are also leveraging this technology, but we have agentic payments. And this is where the XRP Ledger excels. We had the original micro payment system, sending small amounts of value, tons of it through Coil. No one's even close. No one has come close to this amount of micro payments. And those are the type of payments that an agentic system is going to leverage and really use for its daily work. So this is a massive growth vector. It's easy to understand. Even if it's not investors want in, this is going to drive value. You best believe it. And then lastly, when we just look at Ripple's business of cross-border payments, everyone's had headaches of waiting for payments to settle, all of that. It's a huge $1 trillion market, so that's massive. But, XRP has always been a leader there, institutional cross-border payments, and that's going to drive value. You best believe, both in terms of adoption, using the chain, and investors understanding it and wanting to invest in this blockchain and buy the XRP token. One of the problems we have right now, of course, inflation has been sticky, and we want to see a more dovish outlook by the Federal Reserve, start bringing those rates down. We have a new Fed chair, and he sounds quite hawkish to people. What he's essentially saying is, listen, as an investor, worry about your investment. I'm not going to guide you through. I'm going to run the Fed, and we're going to do what's right for the economy, and I'm not going to give you all this stuff, to pump the stock market. You worry or pump crypto or whatever it is. You worry about your investments, I'll worry about the economy. He's setting the stage. He has to show that he's independent, that he is not just a puppet of the president, whether he is or not. He needs the market to have confidence in what he is doing, and he will protect against inflation, of course, but the key thing you have to know with him, what has he said? We're going to worry about the number to the left of the decimal point. So not if it's 2.2 or 2.3, we want to keep inflation at 2. Why is he doing this? All the money that flooded out into the market, during the pandemic, you're not going to get back to 2 flat. That's an arbitrary number anyway. So the new target will probably be 2.3, 2.4, something like that. He's not trying to box himself into that corner right now, but he's given himself some wiggle room here. They have to bring down these rates more. There is so much debt out there. Companies, households, and the government itself. The government itself has so much debt. All our money's going out in interest payments. We have to keep refinancing debt at these higher rates. It's unsustainable. He's going to bring it down slow and methodical. Yeah, it's going to be unacceptable. If interest rates spike 3, 4, something like that, that's going to be crushing. But he's not going to worry about is it 2 or 2.3 or 2.4. It's going to be a little acceptable region there. And he's going to raise kind of where that floor is. He's just not telling us just yet exactly because he doesn't want to box himself into a corner. Now, one of the reasons why I think really when we look at altcoins, it's going to be one of the top performers is they're wildly undervalued. And I asked Claude, I said, make me a chart. I want to show Ethereum, how little it performed from one cycle to the next in terms of a new all-time high, because it did almost nothing. That's the biggest altcoin there is. It did next to nothing. That tells me there's a lot of pent-up demand. These assets are undervalued. I picked Ethereum, so I'm not being biased towards XRP. And look at this chart Claude made. And it's like $100 difference, but the chart makes it look like a monstrous difference. And I'm like, you failed the assignment. So then I had to go do it myself. I mean, you can see here from one cycle to the next, it's essentially flat. I think on the close, it might be down, but it did. You can see here, it went up. I don't know what that is from a little under 48.80 to 49.50. I don't know, whatever the heck it is. It's not up by much, and this is not showing growth. This is just oscillating. This is not altcoins going higher. Now, we look at the XRP chart. Now, hey, that's some growth there. Now, I'm cherry picking a little bit because if we expanded the chart back to 2018, well, we would look closer to that. Now, do I care? No, they cherry pick data on us all the time, so I'm going to show this chart from one cycle to the next. But, all of these assets should look like that, not flat, not oscillating in this sector of hell here where you're not actually making any money. You're just kind of, bouncing around. And we're going to get there with altcoins. A lot of people will look at this and say, well, this just means the only value is Bitcoin. That's nonsense. We all know better. There's going to be a lot of different chains that win, and they have specific use cases and utility, and that's great. And over the long haul, this stuff is going to go up and to the right. Absolutely. We just have to wait. For Bitcoin, again, it was ETFs allowing institutional investors to invest in that asset because it basically does what it'll ever do. But with these blockchains, it's about institutions adopting for payments, brokerages, going to a next level of, autonomous global markets, tokenizing assets, tokenizing dollars and sending them into markets around the globe without permission over permissionless rails. That's the thing. When we go back to this, a lot of people are worried about, well, what chain is it going to run on, right? When we look at OUSD, what is going to be the chain there? Well, it has to be a public blockchain. It can't be a private system because then we have to go to the territory where we want to zip our dollars in there and ask permission and get integrated. And that defeats the whole purpose. We want to flood the globe with dollars. We want to invade different markets. That's why the U.S. likes this. We need people to buy our number one product we make, which is printing new dollars. And to do that effectively, well, we need a permissionless rail. And there's a lot of them out there. XRP Ledger, I think, will give you one of the best experiences and a usable dollar with pathfinding algorithms, so it's easy to swap between a crypto asset and a stable coin, all this stuff. But, you have Ethereum, Solana, a whole bunch out there. So when we look at projects like this, ultimately, they're going to have to run over the main blockchains, the L1s that go out to the globe without permission, and that's what the dominant force is. And, the ones that have utility, that have adoption, those are the chains that are going to be selected, XRP being one of those. I can't stress enough either how big a deal this is. I think most people discount how important this chart is, how fast we are growing with RWAs, the fact that you're beating Ethereum. Ethereum is the biggest there is. Our growth is faster. And then lastly, the biggest one of all very well may be agentic payments. When you look at how big that can scale, almost infinity agents that we will have sending all sorts of transactions, that is going to be big over time. I just don't know how long that takes to mature till we actually unleash these AI agents with actual real value and they're doing real economic activity. I suspect it'll be faster than most people realize, but I don't know exactly when. But you want to be into this early. That's going to be an area where we need to fight because XRP Ledger is built for that. And lastly, the tried and true, trillion-dollar problems you're solving, whether you're doing with XRP, a stablecoin, not really relevant, running over these rails. It's just liquidity we can dip in to do all the other stuff. This is a big deal. Never forget about that. We got a lot of new stuff, but payments are huge. Everything reverts back to a payment. Let me know what you think down below. As always, please like, please subscribe. The revolution will be televised right here on Jungle Link.